everyone, welcome to this Java tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at the concept of singletons, and the scenario is an airplane's onboard software system includes an admin controller object, only one, which is responsible for monitoring the following statuses of the airplane. The system must guarantee that only one admin controller instance exists at any time. So this is very specific to this scenario. There can only be one admin controller. Okay, so some things to think about. What problems might occur if two admin controller objects exist? Right? Would that be a problem? Which object would these sensors talk to? Both? That might be a problem. Could conflicting decisions be made? So we'll think more about these questions later in the worksheet, but hopefully it's kind of clear that in this kind of system we only want one instance of an admin controller at any time, and we need to guarantee that. Okay. Now if we look at the current admin controller class, classic object-oriented programming, here's our constructor method. And once we've constructed an admin controller object, we can then start to call admin controller methods. Okay. Now notice the constructor method is public. So other classes should be able to construct as many admin controller instances as they want. And we don't want that to happen. We want to find a way to guarantee that only one admin controller object can exist at any one time. The strategy that we're going to adopt for that is the Singleton pattern. So let's jump into our IDE and look at how to develop the Singleton pattern. Now, as we've suggested, we don't want classes to construct as many admin controller objects as they want. For example, if we go into main, I'm going to construct an admin controller here. In fact, let's construct two. We don't want this to happen, but let's just do it anyway. Let's run the program. Whoa! We have constructed two admin controllers. No, we don't want to do that. Okay? So, first step of the Singleton pattern is to make the constructor method private. Okay? Now, how can the class track if we already have one admin controller? Because if we do have one, we don't want to construct another one. And if we don't have one, we do want to construct one admin controller. We need to allow that to happen. We need to be able to track if an admin controller has been constructed or not. And the Singleton pattern says, okay, why don't we make a private static variable of type admin controller? I'm just going to give the variable the name admin instance. And we're going to use this variable to track whether or not we already have one admin controller instantiated. Now, why are we making it static? The static variable belongs to the class itself rather than to individual instances of the class. This allows the class to store and share one instance of the admin controller class globally. If it were non-static, let's just take away that static keyword. If it were non-static, each instance would have its own copy. And that kind of defeats the purpose of the Singleton pattern. Okay, so this static variable here is going to help us track if we have an admin controller or not. So now that we've made the constructor method private, we now need to figure out how we can allow another class to construct one instance of an admin controller. So what we're going to do is design and access a method. Okay, now it's going to return a reference to this static variable. So I'm going to make this a static method. Let's call it get instance. Oh, it returns an admin controller reference. I'm going to call it get instance. And let's apply a little bit of logic to this method. If our admin instance is null, that means we haven't yet constructed an admin controller. So let's construct one, and we'll assign it to our tracking variable. Okay, so admin instance will be assigned a new admin controller. Okay. And if that's not true, it means that we already have an admin controller, right? One has already been constructed. Okay, so let's just put a message here, system.out.print. Controller already exists. And what we're going to do is, the last thing we're going to do is return that reference to our admin instance. Because that's the purpose of our get instance method. Okay. Now, I've got an error here. I'm not going to look at that just at the moment. I am going to go back to my main. We do have some problems here, but let's just go back to main. And the problems could be related to this. Okay, we can no longer do that. We can't call the constructor method directly because we made it private. So what we're going to do is admin controller control equals, we're going to call that method get instance. Now, do you remember we made get instance a static method in the admin controller class? So to call that method, call it through the class. We don't need to construct an instance to do this. Now let's do that, and let's see if we can use that instance to check the fuel level, for example. Yay, admin controller instantiated, fuel level 50%. Now let's do this. Let's try and construct another one. Let's try and construct another one and see what happens. Okay. Controller already exists. Okay. So we can't construct another one. All we're saying is that control 2 is referencing the same single admin control that control 1 is also communicating with. These variables are both communicating with the same object. There's only one object. Okay? So there's something to think about as we have an introduction to the Singleton pattern.